And Happy New Year. It's the first one that I've done where I've actually got a guest with me. I'll introduce my lovely guest in a minute. The YBMB show is brought to you from the YBMB programme. And as those of you who've been following us now will be aware, we do it live on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. On Monday, we cover body. On Wednesday, we cover mindset. And on Friday, we cover business. And usually speaking, I have a guest with me to talk about these different areas. And I've been waiting to get this lovely guest on for some time now. And she's a very good friend of mine. Her name is Erika Garcia. Lovely to see you, Erika. And
how are you? Lovely to be with you and all your audience.
Thank you. And you too. And also a couple of things about Erika. Firstly, she's talking to us live from Cancun. So I think it's 6 a.m. there. So is it 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. there?
7 a.m. So good morning to everyone.
So good morning to you. So she's all looking beautiful and sprightly as ever. In honor of you this morning, Erika, I actually took a cold shower because I know what a big fan you are of Wim Hof. And so I tolerated cold for 30 seconds only, but I'll come on to say why that's relevant in a minute, or Erika will rather. So other fascinating facts about Erika, but basically I met her some years ago. She is a very successful businesswoman. She's an ambassador for Cancun, and she is involved in all sorts there, representing her country from a tourism perspective, but also very involved in charitable endeavors, involved in sport and also politics. So she will tell us about some of those things. What I love about Erika is that she's also super glamorous and beautiful and very fit. And interesting little fact that I discovered about Erika is that she was the original Miss Fitness Mexico when she was 23, 24. Before any of these sort of bodybuilding or dancing competitions, cheerleading competitions, Erika was doing that. Go on her Instagram and you'll see. So I will get onto the subject of why Erika is on here specifically today. And that is because Erika and I really share a belief that mentorship and finding mentors and role models is so helpful when you're trying to put your life to the next level, when you're trying to achieve success, whether it is in body, mind or business. And Erika is phenomenal with that. She's a real seeker of knowledge. And I think without further introduction, there's so much more I could say about you, Erika. It'd be lovely to hear a little bit about you. First of all, how you've been coping, firstly, with the pandemic, what it's like over there, and then we'll move into mentorship.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me, Angela. It's an honor. I not only admire you ever since we met, but I love precisely the commitment that you have to never-ending improvement. And that's something that we share, which is part of the philosophy of Tony Robbins. Mm-hmm. And that commitment stands out in times of trouble or stands out in rough times. And to me, whatever we want to call it, lockdown, pandemia, etc., at the beginning, it was a shock like anything. Then what I did is I learned that I had right then and there the ability to apply what I learned, especially regarding the mind. And the mind, as Tony Robbins refers it, and as you and I always refer it, is something, the mind. It is that mind that appears, sometimes for good, sometimes for bad. It's that ego, that little voice that's telling us, you are a victim. Why is this happening to you? Blah, blah, blah. All that voice that starts. When that voice starts, the minute we turn on TV, main media, and we follow the fear and we listen to the fear, the mind will take over. So the first thing that I committed to was not to depend on mainstream media, because I learned that if I wanted to see something specific about politics, the economic status, facts that obviously we have to see, I said, I'm going to look at him at Twitter. I will know exactly the doses that I need of the facts, and that's it. If I go beyond and click on that Twitter because I want to see a statement that affects me from my governor, my president, or a decision, of course I will see it because then I know what's happening. But further there, to just be on and on with a television, that to me was a no-no. So the first thing that I did during these lockdown or pandemia was commit to alternative sources of media. Because I said, I am not going to give up that ability that we have to think and to analyze on our own. If not, we will be fed what we need to be fed, which is fear. And we have enough fear in ourselves to be fed that.
Absolutely. And I think that's such an important first point is, very often people, when they first come into the world of personal development, are not aware of the thoughts that they're actually having. And the first sort of task for everybody and for us as well is to just be aware of what we're thinking and then take control of it, take control of our thoughts, because, we can become master of our mind. And we learned that on all the work that we've done with Tony Robbins. And it's something that, really is a centerpiece of my YBMB program as well, because it's impossible just to sort of say one day, right, I'm going to be positive. There's many strategies, isn't there, to become positive that we've learned from a variety of different mentors. We'll come on to the mentors in a moment. But, although we can't see our mind, it is a physical part of us. It's part of our body. And I know very much you subscribe to that whole philosophy as well, is that, to be conscious of your thoughts, but also do things on the outside to your body, which are going to enable you to be fit and strong, both externally from what you can see, but also what you can't see, which is your mind, isn't it? And so tell us about your fitness regime as well.
Well, what I did this morning, as I do every morning, is I start with a feeling, and it is a feeling of being grateful. And being grateful was probably what kept me in a good state of mind, but also attached to my heart and emotionally, let's call it stable or well. Yeah. If I wake up every morning and I simply turn around and I see how blessed I am to, of course, live in paradise, just that is amazing. But before turning around to saying, wow, I live in a beautiful place, that's the beach, I just wake up and I am thankful that I am alive, because I love life. And just the fact that I am alive and the feeling that, oh my God, I'm okay, this is good, just that, thank you, whoever you want to thank, Mother Earth, however you conceive God, yourself, it doesn't matter. If you start by having that grateful thought, it is amazing how you immediately start feeling blessed. Then I close my eyes and I do something that I learned during this pandemic, which is simple meditation. And simple meditation does not involve a specific mantra that's huge that you have to memorize. It is simply closing my eyes and I breathe in and I go prem and then shanti. So it's recognizing that I am a whole and that I am part of the whole and that I'm connected. So I close my eyes and I do simple meditation, probably for 5-7 minutes. And then I get up. And as I get up, what I do is I take, this is just giving you my morning routine that I just did. I get water, and that water has salt, lime juice, sometimes curcuma, sometimes it doesn't have curcuma. It's just the pink thing that goes ginger.
Oh yeah.
And I drink it up. Why? Because I want my stomach to be ready for being alkaline, and that warm water prepares my stomach so that whatever it receives later, which is what you and I share and are committed to, which is our bulletproof coffee, that happens half an hour later, then it's ready. And then if I have the opportunity of showering, I take a cold shower, which I did today, before I even take that coffee and enjoy the sunrise, which is, I'm a sunrise lover. And then I go out and exercise. That is my morning routine.
And it's a fascinating routine. It's something that I very much subscribe to. I'm trying with the cold showers, but not quite got there yet. And we've built these routines up together, haven't we, as a result of some of
Yes.
these influences. So shall we start with some of the influences that have impacted your morning routine? And in particular, Wim Hof is someone that we've both met. And you and I actually, prior to lockdown, we were actually going to go on, you invited me to a retreat with him, and sadly it was cancelled.
Yeah.
Secretly, I was relieved because I was very scared of jumping into cold water and ice. But tell us how a little bit about Wim Hof, his breathing and his philosophies about cold, and how that really massively improves your health and your experiences of it. Because I know he had a big impact on you, has a big impact on you.
Yes, it has. I had the privilege of meeting Wim Hof through Tony Robbins. Yeah. And the day I saw him on stage in one of the retreats in California, I was amazed by him, because I had learned of him through videos, through Discovery, through Brian Rose, as the Iceman. But what I learned, that he was this crazy guy that loved ice, but I didn't understand the depth of what he was really about and his mission. And one of the things that impressed me the most is his commitment to his mission. His mission truly is about letting you and I know, and everyone that's in the audience know, that we have the ability to be healthy and to be strong and to be happy, and that it is in our power, and that it has nothing to do with what happens externally or the circumstances at all. It really has to do with us. And when you hear his story and you understand in the Wim Hof method, that's his method, Wim Hof method, it is a self-explanatory free system, because you literally download the app and you are guided by the app, just like you are with your body means business, and you're guided exactly on the instructions on what to do. There is that level of being free that you follow it. And what Wim Hof really means is he tells us that our health and our happiness is directly related to the capacity to be here and now, not to be in the anxiety of the future, and not to be in the past. When we're in the past, we are depressed about what happened in the past. The past is the past. How we acted, how we experienced something, whether it was good or bad. It is not good or bad. It was just an experience. It is how we come out of it that matters, and what we learn that matters. And what matters is today, this moment right here that will not be repeated, which is me speaking to you and your audience with my favorite painting behind, which tells you that the answer is within inside yourself. That's why I love it. Because for years, Angela, I was looking for answers outside, because I, like you, like a lot of women and men out there, I thought that being happy meant achieving something, being able to purchase that designer bag. It meant buying a home. It meant traveling to these places. And it doesn't mean that all those goals do not give us satisfaction, but happiness wasn't a destination that I was going to arrive to. Happiness, I have the ability to be happy now with or without that bag, with or without that home, with or without that relationship, because happiness is a state. And it is a state of not only emotion, but of mind. So what Wim Hof taught me is that we live, unfortunately, and this is, our body's not ready for this, more than 5% of our life in the sympathetic system. And that sympathetic system is a system of fight or flight, which was a system where our ancestors were sitting there awaiting for the lion, and they needed to go out there in the wilderness and go grab some food. But that is the state that we live in, yet we don't need to do that. What happens is our cortisol levels are high and our stress is high because we are acting and reacting to life. And what that does is it puts us in the sympathetic world, which is react. That's why we snap. That's why we don't have control of our emotions. That's why we wonder with our thoughts and we don't snap ourselves and say, wait a minute, is that thought adding to my day-to-day? Is it adding to the performance of my job? Is it adding to my relationship with my daughter or my son right now? Is it adding to what I'm going to do? No, it's not. Then thank you very much, out. But we do not develop those skills if we are not aware of them. And for the first time in my life, I learned that even though I was achieving, I was doing, which doing is something that you and I share with Gary Vee, which I love, and I will always prefer doing than just sitting and being in the mind and overthinking things, because the ability to act is key to everything. However, in that ability to act, we also sometimes act too much and we do not stop. And that was what was happening to me. So what I learned with Wim Hof is stop, breathe. When you're scared, when something serious is happening, when you're going to have a serious conversation with your boss, or if you're your own boss or an entrepreneur or with someone, what is it that you do? Oh, we need to talk, right? That's what you hear. And you go, oh God, what am I going to talk about? Then if you are about to face something crucial, whether you're going through immigration, whether you have to face something, the first thing that you do is, I'm going to breathe. And we do it to be here and now. The difference is that breathing method, what Wim Hof did is unconsciously, he created that method or that way of breathing just to have the capacity to be here and now.
So there's so many different mentors I want to talk about. Wim Hof I wanted to start with because I know he's had a massive impact on you, and I think his teaching is wonderful, and I think it's summed up by one of the things that Tony says, which is all I need is within me now, and that's most certainly so a quick takeaway from Wim is, as you've mentioned, it's about you can do this right now under lockdown during the pandemic. You can basically download his app. He teaches you breathing exercises. It's astounding the impact. And if you're brave, you can also sort of advance further into having, having freezing cold showers, etc. There's so much that you can learn from Wim Hof. He's got podcasts, etc. And I'd like to talk about him more, but we'll leave him now for a moment because I want to jump to the next one. So Wim is very focused on, the connection between body and mind. Who would you say is the next most influential mentor that you've come across? Because there's many that I could sort of ask you about, and I know that you've got lots to say in each. But who else would you suggest that people would really go and listen to, especially during this time?
Definitely Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So before you talk about Grant, I think he's, for me, is the other end of the spectrum, because you were talking about thinking and doing. Grant seems, and I've only met Grant very briefly, but I'm a big fan of his work. And in fact, one of his partners I've got on the show next week, Natalie Workman.
Yes, she's
it's lovely, yeah. But with Grant, he seems, crash bang, he's a doer. He's a bit like Gary Vee. He does. But there's still a lot of mindset work there, and he's still very wise, isn't he? So tell us a bit about what you've learned with him.
Yes.
Yeah, your thoughts.
What happened when I met Grant is I've met him several times, and I met him first by curiosity because I was really drawn by him because our association hired him to come and speak to us, to everyone in the hotel business, because we said in the committee, we decided we are going to pay for a sales expert. And that is Grant, where he says you're either going to sell or you're going to be sold, right? So we needed that technical expert that was going to motivate all of the commercial side of the destination to go out and sell. So he not only over-delivered and gave us real strategy, techniques, and takeaways on how to sell, how to close right now, and reminded us of what gets you up every morning and that hustle that him and Gary Vee have about life and about achieving, which, yes, they talk about money, it involves things, but the true thing is their mission, behind is spiritual. What happens is you don't see it immediately because we are focused on the techniques and the strategies that they are giving us to go get my money, your money, or the sale. But when you really, really look into their life, they have the same commitment as Tony, the same commitment as Sir Richard Branson, the same commitment as Wim to their mission. He is committing to impacting regular human beings and letting them know that they all can become their own entrepreneurs. And he not only gives them the skill, but he has the balance with family that I've been most impacted from. Mm-hmm. What I learned from him, and I saw it through his wife, I saw it through his children, is it wasn't really an act at all. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we don't meet someone in person, when we're just meeting, we don't really know what's for real, what's not for real. And one of the things that I noticed that is for real and common in all of these mentors is, first of all, their consistency. That consistency also shows not only their commitment to their mission, but when you see them act in a certain way, in a consistent way, you know they're being real because they are being authentic, because there is only so many times you can stage whatever it is that you want to stage. But when you are live and when you are showing your stories, showing your angles, showing yourselves in a good mood, having the ability to show that you're human, that you are not perfect, that you have the audacity to make mistakes, and those mistakes help you grow. And when you are feeling down and you have the capacity to explain and be authentic behind that lens and say, today I am having a bad day. It's okay. Today I learned this and this is what's happening. But the takeaway from Grant Cardone to me has been not only specific skills regarding marketing, sales, and also ideas for business, but also the commitment to that mindset of not being part of that circumstance. If you do not like those circumstances, you literally have the ability to change those circumstances. And he shows you by 1 or 2 or 3 decisions that you could sit there and debate with him, and he will isolate whatever excuse, because at the end of the day, there are excuses of our mind, and he will isolate it in such a way that the truth come up. And that truth is always, I've learned, I'm not good enough, and the lack of belief that we can do things. And because we sometimes are seeking for perfection and not progress. So what I learned with him was, do not seek for perfection, progress. And just like Wim and just like Tony tells us, yes, you learned this from me, but act now and take the ability to act now and try it now.
And action is so critical, isn't it? Because
yes,
you know, otherwise people will, especially in the pandemic more than ever, but before that as well, is that you can be frozen because you can, well, firstly, a fear of failure that we, many of us have experienced, but also frozen because there's so many things to do. And I think what I love about the message with from Grant especially is, just pick something, just do something, and then do it consistently and do a lot of it as well. He talks in his organization on the sales side about, consistently doing 25 sales calls per day before he'll even talk to any of his staff about things not working. His first question is always, have you done 25 sales calls per day? Otherwise, don't even talk to me about what's not working and why the leads are no good, etc. So he's very action orientated, and to be action orientated, you've got to be physically fit because you've got to have the energy. And I noticed with Grant as well, he's super fit. He went through a fitness transformation himself about a year ago. Mm-hmm. I noticed it with Gary Vee as well when I met him in this time last year in New York. And he was very mindful of what he's eating. He's in great shape. He doesn't necessarily talk about that very much, but a lot of these mentors have in common, same with Tony, that they're very focused on their physical fitness, their morning routines, as you've just described, and then huge amount of action as well. So before we sort of round up some tips, who else would you tell us about? Because again, I know you've spent a retreat time with Richard Branson. I know that you spent some time with Lewis Howes. who I've never met, but I think is great at bringing together lots of speakers. I also know Brian Rose as well, and I know that you spent some time with him. So, but is there anybody else, and any females as well? I'd be interested in hearing about in terms of mentors.
Well, particularly, you know who I was very much impressed at the Women's 10X Lady was definitely Natalie Workman. So if you're going to have her, your audience is absolutely going to love her. She's not only a young lad, like you would say, she is, but she is 27 going on 50. The level that she has, not only of knowledge, but the ability that she has to download that knowledge and that mythology that she has to teach is brilliant. She is the perfect combination to Dawson, which is her fiance, but she is also a pillar in their business. And because of her attraction to Elena, they arrived to Grant. And what I love about Natalie as a woman is not only the maturity that she has, but that she is also a doer and a go. And she's not afraid, because she's young, of telling you what is wrong with your business and giving you those tips, or identifying in sections if it's a situation of human resources, if it's a situation of cash flow, if it's an organization crisis, etc. They are, her and her fiance are the perfect formula for mentorship for a business. And that's why they formed Cardone Ventures. But it's very interesting how Natalie and even I and other women were really attracted to Grant and really were committed to what he was doing through the angle of Elena, through the woman. So Elena Cardone, to me, I admire her a lot, because she not only is I would say, and I'm sorry to say this, but she's a badass. I mean, the way that she fights and the way that she exercises, I love boxing, and the way that she does martial arts is brilliant, because you can tell that all that energy and that fierceful mind goes out in that morning when she's doing that. And then what happens is, boom, she's ready to now be a mother, follow up on the chores. She does homeschooling for her children, and she is all about schedule. And committing to that schedule is crucial, because of that commitment to schedule, she was able to take her children and grow her children within that culture that she has and that mission of going around the world. And then when you see women like Natalie Workman that in the future will become mothers, you see how she attracts those women that are committing to taking their kids everywhere, because the new norm is gonna help you decide that you're not gonna have the traditional structure. And Sir Richard Branson talks about the tradition education now. You need new skills for you, but that are probably automatic skills for your children, which is the ability to do their homework on their own, to commit to whatever it is that they're doing, and then you can revise the homework or whatever it is that they're doing. So Natalie Workman to me is amazing, and Elena.
I totally agree. And I think you make a really important point there as well, that, you don't need to only seek out mentors if you are a business person, if you are a businesswoman or a businessman, because you could be a homemaker, for example, male or female. It tends to be obviously still women, but you can still find really great mentors who, and you still need all those strategies, the strategy for your body, for your physical strength, for your mental strength. And, my program is Your Body Means Business. A lot of these mentors talk about cash flow and building a business and building teams and everything. But, these skills apply themselves to all of your life. And it has a ripple effect, because then you become, whether you're a business person or not, if you're scheduled, if you've got your act together, if you are brave in pushing yourself forward, that makes you a really great role model, not just for your children, but for other people around you, because they become attracted to you, because they look at you and they want to know how you found out what you found out, what it is that you do in your routines, how come, you're able to show up and have your act together every day. So there's so many impacts. What I wanted to say about Natalie, by the way, and again, I'm glad you mentioned her in the context of her age, because you don't have to wait until you're older with more experience to be brave and push yourself forward. And finding mentors like her are really a great idea if you feel that you're lacking in experience. She actually did a podcast series of the age gap, because she is with a guy that's much older than her. And she talks about how when she first showed up to events, you know, she felt really out of her depth, you know, because she was young. But people often feel out of their depth in a business meeting. And it could be nothing to do with their age, lack of experience or whatever. So there are different mentors for different things, and you can go and find them, can't you, depending on what you're looking for. Sometimes you stumble on mentors and think, oh, I like that person. So on that subject, how do you decide what it is you need to know next? How do you find mentors? And how long do you leave between each experience with a mentor to sort of implement? Because that's one of the other things that I have found, for example, on Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership. I needed to take a break and implement and then go back, because otherwise I think if you don't implement, you don't have the right questions and you don't challenge yourself enough. So sorry, a few questions in one there, but so let's start with the first one about how do you know when to, you know, what you need to know next?
Well, first of all, with mentors, you resonate. And you resonate, whether you watch them on TV, whether you stumble upon a Twitter, whether it's an ad. Sometimes it's an ad in our mail. Sometimes it is a word or something that resonates. Maybe you are thinking, oh, I need to lose weight, or, oh, I need to learn this new skill, etc. And then that word stumbles and you stop. Sometimes you are guided to a mentor by the theme or the skill, or maybe the question, or whatever he or she is selling that deep down you know you need, and you've been procrastinating about it. And then what happens is you make that click. Say you do that click, or you follow that person, or you say, I think this person has something to show, go further. So what I would use, first of all, is curiosity. If there is an instinct there where you are looking at something, or you heard about someone and you have been procrastinating and not really Googling them or trying to find their social media, etc., don't do that. Please use curiosity, because curiosity is a beautiful ability that's going to help us always get better. Because whether we find things that we like about that person or mentor or not, the only way we find out if he or she resonates with us is through curiosity. Second is, you have to know at least what is it that you're passionate about. And if you don't, maybe today in this new lockdown is a good question to ask. What am I passionate about? What do I like? Because when you are passionate about a theme or something, it resonates with you, and you even feel it in your stomach, and you know you're connecting with it. So, and follow that passion, because in that passion is the fact that you're going to find and discover new things about you and learn new skills. What I love about choosing a mentor, or the way that I would choose a mentor, because I don't necessarily analyze what is the next item that I need to learn. I honestly, Angela, go a lot by intuition.
Yeah.
And especially in these times, in the last year, I've done a lot by intuition. And even though I know that full immersion is crucial, that full immersion for me is not a full immersion where I am, say, a groupie. If, like you, if I really learn something, instead of just becoming a groupie and following him or she all day on social media or physically, or investing and buying every single thing about them, that's perfect for a while. But then you have to stop, because if not, then you are a groupie. You're not necessarily stopping and saying, okay, thank you very much, mentor. Now let me go implement.
So true. Yeah.
If that mentor is very successful, of course he or she is gonna bombard you with emails, etc. And that's okay. It's marketing.
Yeah, Grant calls that hammer time, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's okay if it's hammer time. You just don't take it personal.
Yeah.
You don't have to opt out. he was talking the other day about a few of the mastermind clients that are there. That is his highest ticket, yet a lot of them opted out. And he says, it doesn't mean that they do not become my client, but maybe they don't want to read my 17 emails a day. And that's okay. I don't take it personally. He says, I'm not going to stop marketing to them. However, I will try to talk to them in another angle. So what I learned is I do, like you, need to stop and act about what I learned. So if I learned something today, I go and I act about it and I try to implement it, because that, if I don't do it, then I will not know how it feels to be in the cold. I will not know how it feels to use that tip that Grant told me, which in a way, it wasn't necessarily making those 25 calls, but it was making that hard call. So during the pandemia, I changed something about myself. I was the one in my office that committed to making the hard call every day. And that hard call maybe meant, guess what? We're not going to be able to pay you this way, but let's reorganize and pay you this way. Before, I used to delegate it. Why? Because I was a COO. I was already there. And during these hard times, I learned to go back and do the basic. And that helped me reorganize my work and reorganize my organization and be more in tune with what was going on versus always traveling and just bringing the new business, but not really being there physically, tangible, feeling what was happening inside or the mindset that was happening in my organization.
I think that again is a really lovely point to make, because when pre-pandemic, we're chief execs of our own businesses, we build these teams, and so we sort of we take responsibility for making all the decisions, but actually, just like anybody in any job, we can get into a bit of a comfort zone that we only do this, we don't do that, and suddenly we've all been flung into this different environment, this different planet, where we're having to do things, or we don't have to, but we really need to do different things if we're going to basically thrive and, or survive and thrive in this environment. One of the things I like doing about mentors is trying to analyze, as part of my journaling, I like trying to analyze, who do I think is a great role model? Who is a great mentor? Why do I like that person? What is it I like about them? And I try to extract the sorts of attributes they've got that I like, and they tend to be things then that I realize that it can be quite enlightening, because you realize that that's how you want to be, that's what you're aspiring to be more of. And so once you identify, why do I like Grant Cardone? Well, I like him because he takes no nonsense, he just plows forward, he gets things done, he's not afraid of making mistakes, like you say. I like that about him. So I realize that's some of the traits that I like about myself, I want more of in myself. And so I think that's a really good thing to do. And then after that, you've got to set about, well, how are you going to make that happen? And you have to make it happen by action and implementation, as you just said, by making calls, but just doing some of the stuff that maybe naturally you wouldn't go off and do. So I think that's a really great thing you've said there. Is there anybody else that you wanted to mention on this? We could go on for ages, and we're almost up at time. Is there anyone else you'd want to mention?
Well, Sir Richard Branson was a great impact for me, because one thing that I learned about him was his compassion. And to me, that compassion is also, and I also see it now, that the light is the sunrise. So it's
the sun's coming up.
So it is also what I saw and I feel every day with one of my favorite podcasters, which is Lewis House. To me, compassion is key. Just like being grateful of this great sun and being here, compassion is key, because compassion allows us to be human. And we need more compassion in this world. And to me, a mentor has to be compassionate because he's compassionate about me as an audience, and whatever I'm going through, he or she probably already went through that. That compassion brings that empathy of being on your side, and being on your side is going to allow me to help you or help myself to get on the other way. If I see things through you versus a mentor that is so big on his ego that he is just trying to bombard you the information, but doesn't have the ability to be compassionate. If you ask any of those mentors, whether it's online, whether you're facing them, etc., a key question that's very personal, and they show you not only compassion for themselves, but vulnerability. Yes, because that only tells you that not only they are honest with themselves, they are being honest with you. And it is key to understand that we are humans and we are vulnerable. And if we pretend we're not, then we're not really growing, because society and media is telling us you're not allowed to feel. Make sure that if you're feeling this, take this pill. If you have these syndromes, you must take this other pill. And it is big pharma that is telling us, do not be here and now. Do not be in touch with those feelings. Please neglect them. Just pretend you're happy. Find the sources outside, because you are just a product of society. And what we need to snap out is say, no, we are human. We are vulnerable. We are allowed to cry. And that is the beauty of being a human. If not, let's all just take pills or get high, not be here, and then just pretend and act like robots. I don't want that. I love my vulnerability. And I love that these mentors that I seek and that I can relate to have to be committed to what they do, consistent, and you see it in social media, as well as being compassionate about themselves and about others, because being compassionate, and you see it in the new movie coming out that's called Soul, and you see it in so many new programs out there that are talking about us as a whole, and that we are really spirit playing in this matrix. And if we're aware that we have that consciousness and that spirit, we could still play in the matrix, but we have to not forget that we are just using this body. It is just an avatar. And that's why we have to take care of it, because it's going to help us go wherever it is that we have to go, or become who is it that we have to become. And that is also a way that we honor ourselves, we honor our spirit, and we honor our humanness. It's going back to being human.
I think it's a really way of summing it up, is that when we're looking for mentors, we're not looking for perfect people. We're looking for people that have got traits that we really admire. We're looking for humans that exhibit all of the weaknesses that a real human being, that every human being experiences, but somehow they found the strength within to overcome those challenges and to push themselves forward more than the average person. And what's lovely about this, when they're vulnerable and they explain what their challenges have been, and then they share their strategies for overcoming these challenges. And, so, and many of the people and many others that we've not had a chance to talk about do exactly this. They share their strategies, and their strategies are always, when you boil down to it, they're simple. But the interesting thing is they're not easy. And I think this is what all mentors have in common, is that they are vulnerable, ordinary people, very often from deprived backgrounds and things like that, but they found the ability to implement simple strategies to great effect. And what it nearly always boils down to is, as you said, looking after this shell of ours, which is the one and only vehicle that we have, our body, understanding that we can work on our mind just like any other muscle, with all the things that you've mentioned and the tools that are totally at our disposal, with oxygen, with breathing, with meditation, all of that. And then the rest of it is simple business strategies, which but you've got to have the energy and the mindset to be able to implement them, and thereby you can make an impact on the world. And this is what I think you're saying, is that the mentors, in the end, they share this spiritual quality, that they want to make an impact. They're not doing these things only for themselves, but they're trying to make this impact. I wanted to sort of just finish up by saying to you, and this is really the honest truth, is that I find you one of these role models, Erika, because, over the period of that I've known you, but also when I look back at your history, you are someone who's done some amazing things in your life. You've really overcome challenges, but you've had great successes. You're still so humble. You know, you're always willing to help out. And I've seen you in action, you know, whether it's a charity event or whether it's an event where you'll get up and you'll speak and share. And, you know, and also one of the most glamorous women that I've ever come across as well, even at 7 a.m. in the morning. So it's been such an honor to have you on here. And I think, you know, if anyone is looking for a mentor, they could start off by following you on your Instagram and just seeing what you get up to on a day-to-day basis. But thank you so much. And is there anything else that you think that we ought to tell our audience before we leave? Because there's a wealth of experience you have, I know.
My recommendation for January is it is goal setting time.
Yeah.
And what I would do is I would divide a vision board in personal, professional, spiritual, and family, and commit to 3 things in each category that are very specific for this year. And this year does not start today, whether you're in England and lockdown starts. This year starts today, because today you make the decision to those. So that's what I would let them know, that it is time for goals and do that. And to me, it's been an honor participating. I am your crazy Latina fellow entrepreneur. And it would be great if I donate to you, to all your community of your Body Means Business, a Cancun card, which is a getaway to Cancun.
Wow.
And I offer you that so that if your audience sets those goals and they could prove to us that they were able to, first of all, implement them and then achieve part of them. Whenever you decide, Angela, whatever methodology you want to use, I am ready to provide that giveaway or several more the way that you want to, because I think it's a great way to also give ourselves a price for committing ourselves not only to our body, our mind, but also our business.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much. We will definitely do that in the show notes. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And I'm sure you're going to get lots more visitors to Cancun because it's so beautiful where you are. I can see the sun's come up now. So I will leave you to do your thing on the beach. Wow, look at that. How beautiful. And you still have your tree because you've got your final celebration today, the 3 Kings celebration, you said.
Yes, I'm going to see if they brought me something.
Oh, all right. Well, lovely to see you. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Blessings to all.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good